I started practicing on the North Shore in July of 1990, and I moved here to Houma in October of 1992.
I trained at LSU, went to all the charity hospitals around Louisiana and the veterans hospitals, and then came back here in 1989.
1991.
Around 1999, I believe it was, yeah.
I got back to Houma in, I think, August of 1990.
I actually started at Nichols in pre-vet, and I thought I wanted to be a veterinarian. They have a farm at Lafourche Crossing, and after a few trips to the farm, I realized I didn't want to be a vet anymore, so I decided to go into medicine.
I come from a long line of medical doctors. My grandfather, my father, my uncles.
My dad was a bookkeeper, and our pediatrician, my dad kept his books, and he was Dr. Swindle. And I just loved that guy, and I thought it was great, and never wanted to do anything else.
Medicine was what we knew. It was our environment. I'm locally grown. I grew up here in Berg.
I grew up about 10 minutes away from here.
My dad never, that I can remember, told me, son, you need to be a doctor. You need to go to med school. Actions speak louder than words. He didn't have to tell us to go to med school.
All the way back then, I guess, as I was in college, it was like, what I want to do with the rest of my life, what would be the most rewarding, satisfying, where I could really make a difference.
I like math, I like biology, I like chemistry.
I actually worked at the hospital in the late 70s as an orderly.
I lied about my age, and Dr. Mac Thomas was teaching an EMT course here, so I got in at 17 instead of 18.
So I started in engineering.
I came here to work in the emergency room, but they didn't have a spot in the emergency room, so I worked on the surgery floor.
During that period of time, I kind of did soul searching, and
I met Dr. Philip Sinak. And I'm gonna tell you, and Mac Thomas, those two guys, cinched it for me. I wanted to be a surgeon.
thought about it, and over a period of time, I decided that I wanted to switch to pre-med.
I knew a lot of the doctors when I was young from playing tennis with them, so I was just real comfortable with the people and the hospital.
But I did go to USL to play on a tennis team, and I thought I was actually at one point going to be a tennis professional. So I learned very quickly in the trying to play professional tennis that I was just not good enough. And then I went into medicine and didn't look back.
I went to medical school at LSU Medical School in New Orleans.
I got accepted at LSU in New Orleans.
And I did my residency and fellowship in Birmingham at UAB.
And I was introduced to anesthesia while I was in rotations at OK Long Hospital.
Very, very happy I went down that path.
I gravitated to Houma for a couple of reasons, knowing that my family's here.
It was just time to come home. And I had a good opportunity, so I went with it.
I spent like a third of my 36 years in Houma. And again, what attracted me was, well, a lot of things did. It was a great group to work with.
And it was just a natural fit. I ended up coming back. I have uncles here, Craig and Herman at the time.
The food is much better in Cajun country than it is here in Kentucky.
I got webbed toes and black feet from walking in gumbo mud. And there's no place else in the world but this.
Now, my grandpa Haydell, HL, would actually go down the bayou. He would go get in a pirogue and paddle across a canal where these people didn't even have, their access was by water. He would deliver their babies at their home, get back in the pirogue and paddle back. My dad had a big, big presence in that. He was here working as a general practitioner during a time that general practice did everything. And so
the distal bypasses, the fistulas for dialysis machines, all of that the general surgeons did.
I think the biggest change has been in information technology.
But then all of a sudden, everything changed on that because of, specialties.
When I started just writing everything down on paper, tonight you're typing everything.
It's good that everything's become more and more specialized, but it's also bad that everything's become more and more specialized. The science itself has changed very little, at least with anesthesia. Primary care is extremely important to kind of be a quarterback
and try to guide patient care.
When I started 36 years ago, man, that's a long time. But when I started that long ago, medicine really year by year in my specialty, radiation oncology, really wasn't changing enormously year by year.
You know, with the advent of capnography, pulse oximeters, and all that, that was all coming into fruition when I was a resident.
We've made improvements at warp speed.
You really have to stay on your toes now more than ever.
You know, we learned how to do laparoscopic surgery. Now we do even our cancer operations laparoscopically.
But again, very rewarding to bring, as we always have been, the latest and greatest to our patients.
Well, you have to be ready to work hard, and you have to treat every patient with respect.
Taking care of patients that I know from this community. They walk in the hospital, they're scared, and they need to be put at ease. And they see you there and you spend the time and you're talking to them and they feel comfortable about it. I think that probably is one of the best feelings in practicing medicine for me.
Be available and use your education that you were lucky enough to get to go and help people.
And in my opinion, you can't be a doctor sometimes. This is not a job. This is a vocation.
And I think it's really important not to get caught up in just, doing it just for the look or for just financial reward. That's not what it's about.
You know, you're out of school. School never stops. It should never stop. You should learn every day.
Now more than ever, it's challenging in medicine to stay at the leading edge. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of study.
My mentor in Birmingham was a man named Basil Fershowitz, and he's actually a famous gastroenterologist. He invented the first fiber optic gastroscope. His advice to me is to never make a medical decision based upon money. Always do what's the best thing for the patient, and don't worry about the money because it'll come.
And my dad would tell me this, and he actually lived this too. He goes, Carl, you need to learn to focus on your business. Don't worry about what other people do.
And I think it's really, really important for any job that you have to enjoy the job.
You go through seasons, so you have to find ways to make the best of whatever season you're in.
I worked in the old hospital, and it was something.
And I remember my dad and all of his colleagues, and it was just kind of a cool thing to navigate through the hospital with him. The sisters were running the hospital. I thought that was kind of cool. Then I watched, and then it changed, and I watched the hospital grow.
I gained so much more so that when we went to medical school, I felt like I had an advantage over people who hadn't done medical work. And if Terrebonne Hospital wasn't here, Terrebonne General, then I wouldn't have had that.
It seemed to me before I came that it was going to be a great hospital, but it exceeded my expectations.
We need a good state-of-the-art hospital to be able to practice, to be able to send heart patients. And
then when I came back to it, it advanced and the facility was a lot nicer, and I was glad to be here.
So the whole medical community grew. The number of doctors grew.
Terrebonne General has been there the whole time.
All of us working with great cooperation, always focused on the endpoint, being the best we can for our patients, is exactly what led to the great success of our cancer program today.
A lot of the patients that I see, I wouldn't be able to see because we wouldn't have the oncologists here. We wouldn't have the facility, Marybird Perkins, to anchor those patients here.
Well, they've been completely supportive. I haven't done an endoscopy anyplace else but at the hospital. The whole staff at the entire hospital is wonderful.
But at every step of the way, the support services, the laboratory, the radiology, administration, everything has been a critical cog in bringing about this success story. And a huge thanks to everybody.
Going through all my training, we've had some of the best physicians I've ever met right here in Houma.
I feel that at this stage of my life, after 30 some odd years of practicing anesthesia.
How fast, 30 years. I can't realize it's been that long.
Unrealistic, but I kind of feel like I'm in maybe the best part of practicing medicine for me.
Unbelievable guys, dedicated to their craft, but so good at what they do.
I appreciate the opportunity with colleagues. I appreciate the patients and the people who have trusted me to go ahead and take care of them.
We become a family. We all know each other. We talk about all kind of things.
It's just been a real honor and privilege in my life to be of service in all those years.
If I had to put it on one word, I'd just say I enjoy it.
I think it would be grateful. That's grateful because I'm grateful for the patients entrusting me with their medical care.
That's a hard question. Honestly, I think I would have to say blessed.
I'm grateful for the doctors who send me patients as consults, that they have enough faith in me that I can do the job they need to have done.
Fantastic. That would have to be the one word I would use in so many different ways.
And I'm also grateful for the people I've gotten to work with through the years.
Oh, it's been a ride.
It's been a wonderful ride, and I've really enjoyed, doing what I've done.
I couldn't imagine doing anything else. I couldn't imagine retiring, honestly.
I miss the patients. I miss working with the staff, the other doctors, the fine folks in the hospital. I just really miss that human touch.
I can't imagine me doing anything else other in my life other than medicine.
I wouldn't do anything different. I still today enjoy what I do, and I'd like to keep doing this as long as I possibly can.
I just enjoy what I do, and I hope things continue as good as they've been, and that's it.